Hello and welcome back to my channel. I have a little project idea here. I'm hoping it's gonna work. So I'm hitting record, not really testing this yet. I'm just mixing over here. I just noticed I didn't mix it. This is just school glue and water. So I'm just trying to thin out the glue basically. And it looks like there's a little paint left over there from my daughter. That's okay. Okay. So I shared this in a thrift haul. I found this at a little market. It was attached to something. I don't know what it was. I love it. I love it. And I thought I want to create something, not necessarily just like this, but something Christmassy that I can put in the brass picture holders that I've shared many times. I have found some recently at thrift stores. And so I thought a little Christmas scene would be fun to put in one of those. You don't have to put just pictures in there, or, you know, you can put all kinds of things in there. And I thought this might be a fun idea. So we're gonna try this out. So I picked up a cutting board at Dollar Tree, $1.25. Very similar in the size of this, and it'll be great for the size of the picture holder I want. You can do it this way or this way. Then I went to this, I found at TJ Maxx. Try Target, try Amazon, try Home Goods. These are just napkins. So I kind of wanted a vintagey look. And if you know me, green is my favorite. So, let me see, are these? They should be, yes, they're double. So you can see you're gonna want the napkins that you can pull them apart like this. So that's the kind of paper napkin you're looking for. You could also use like decoupage paper, or the fact that that just ripped, I'm not even mad about it because I'm not gonna want the edges to look perfect. You definitely could. So the first thing I was really thinking about, literally I'm doing this on the fly. I was really thinking about painting the board black first. And you can see here, this is how I do projects. I think I do want to do that. I have a little bit of black paint left over. So let me grab another paintbrush. And as I'm doing that, I'm thinking I can water down my paint as well to kind of make it like a stain. So let me grab my water bottle, and we're gonna do it that way. So I'm just gonna kind of put some water here. I don't need to like make this a solid black paint color, but kind of like a stained, if you just watered down paint color. So you could spray, you could do the same thing like I did here with the glue, put a little bit of craft paint in there. I always have Dixie Belle paint on hand, so that's what I'm using. You could also use a black stain if you wanted to, or do it fully black. It's gonna depend on what your napkin is. So I just kind of wanted it a little bit darker so you couldn't see, like, it's just not all wood underneath there. That makes sense. Okay. And then I could even, when I get this all done, you could go around and paint the edges like a gold or a brass color. I'll wait till the complete end, like when the napkin and everything is dry and on there. Okay, so this, I'm gonna let it dry and then we'll come back to the next step. These little handheld craft dryers are a game changer if you're like me and don't have a ton of patience. I use this thing all the time. I will link everything that I use to make this in the description of this video so you can check it out. These are really inexpensive, these dryers, but they're just, when you want to move a little bit quicker. This is coming out, I love the color. It's just gonna darken that wood just the right amount. And you could do that, like I said, totally with just your inexpensive, you know, the little craft paints that you can get at Walmart or on Amazon for like 98 cents or whatever. You can do the same thing. Just water down a black paint. Okay. Oops. Okay. So now what you're going to do is you're going to, you could also use Mod Podge, but again, I don't have that on hand. I always like to use what I have. So I had some school glue on hand, so that's what I'm using. And so you're just going to paint that on, and you do want to do this in a thin, even coat. And just know that your napkin is very thin. So you're just going to have to be very gentle with it. There we go. I'm just going to go around, and there's kind of some excess around the edges. Just don't want too much excess. It's just because you're going to apply that same glue to the top as well. So figure out where you want your pattern depending on what it is. And you're going to want to start at one end. Mine would be great if I could get it. I'm not going to be able to. That's okay. We'll get it as much as we can. And then you're just going to want to smooth it out. Now, you could use like a credit card or something if you had it on hand. You can always lift and then gently lay down. Yeah, I like it a lot better with the black underneath. And remember to get it all the way to the edge. So you can see that edge right there. You want to get this all the way to the edge. And now for me, like I said, the more imperfect, you know, like I don't need it to look perfect. Like there's that crease. And what you can do is to make it not look so perfect is once it's all dried and done, you can sand the edges. Maybe the edges don't look so perfect. So basically you're just going to keep working this until you get it how you like it. Whoa. I was lucky there. I didn't. Oops. I'm spilling my glue, as you can see here. That's why I always have these mats down. And then I'm just going to do this for the video's sake, but let this dry a bit. I mean, you can use your dryer again, just to get it dried before you apply that top layer, kind of smoothing it out here as it's drying. I kind of like a little bit of the crinkles in this one. But my gosh, they have so many different napkins nowadays. Like you can really, this could be so many different things. The napkins are just like, and decoupage paper too. Dixie Belle does have that. I will try and remember to link some of that in the description as well if you want to check out those. You can do this for any season. Okay, that right there. I know there was glue on there, but I must have taken too much off. You definitely want to make sure that it is laying down underneath. Don't just think you're just going to glue the top and then it's going to be fine. You want to make sure that there's glue underneath holding that down. So now once I get this, okay, we're going to pretend that that's dry. Then you're going to go over it with your, again, if you're using Mod Podge, that's fine, or with your glue here. And this is just gonna help set it. And kind of puts a little protective layer on there as well. And then you're gonna let it fully dry. And then you will obviously cut away at the edges. I'm getting more crinkles now, which I'm not mad about. Okay, I'm fully covered. Now we're gonna let it fully dry. Now that it's dry, take any sanding paper, block, whatever you have. This is what I have here in my office. And this is a great way, as I say that, I grabbed one that's a little too, you wanna not grab don't grab like an 80 grit sandpaper. You want something that's really soft, because you're just kind of sanding away that edge that, you know, obviously where you don't want the napkin. And this is where, usually when I do this project, I don't mind if some of the edges tear, if it's not perfect, like right there, because that's where I kind of like that just imperfect kind of vintage look. Kind of like that inspiration piece I shared with you. And so then so that's all off. You could obviously use scissors, but I just think the sander, the sander just gets it perfectly around the edges. And then I always go, so you can see how my edge is not getting perfect, right? So I always take the sandpaper along the edges, and just kind of whatever's gonna come off is gonna come off. So you can kind of see, and you can see some of my paint underneath is coming off. Again, doesn't bother me. That's what I want it to do. I just don't need that perfect edge. So you can kind of see how this is worn here. Now you can decide what you're gonna do. So you could come over this. Mine is pretty dark. So I'm thinking, as I'm looking at it right here, I will probably just leave it. I am gonna go over it with a top coat. I'm just trying to get a little bit more. Let me see. That one was very fine. This one's fine. Let me see. Yeah, it's just taking off a little bit more. Now, if your picture was a little bit brighter, maybe you'd want to go over this with like a dark glaze or a, you know, like a stain. Again, it's just going to depend on what your picture is, what you kind of want the look to be. So for me, I'm going to go grab a top coat. I like the way this looks. I really like the way the dark background made this. It looks old. It's giving me the exact kind of look I was going for a Christmas little picture, and how easy. And then you've got a whole stack of napkins left over that you can use for the holidays. Let me grab the top coat. Like I said, I will leave the links to everything I'm using. Always, always, always. Well, and I shouldn't say always, but for me, it is always going to be a flat or a matte top coat. And this one I love. I'll leave a link in the description. But again, you just kind of want an even, thin coat. You could use the glue again too, or, you know, the Mod Podge again, another layer on the top if you wanted. Again, I always have this stuff on hand. I share all of my painting orders with you guys so you know what and why I always buy and have certain products always on hand. Because see, this is for, you know, mostly my furniture projects, but I always have it on hand for things like this. So now I will let that fully dry, and it is totally done. If you like projects like this, make sure you hit the subscribe button. Share this project if you know somebody that would enjoy it. And as always, I hope you have a great day, and I will talk to you very soon.